Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you are well. Welcome to episode 82 of Cross Button VR, our journey into the world of VR. I'm your host, Laurie, and it is an honour to be joined by one of the most cutie pie influencers in the metaverse. It's Reece, and we are thrilled to be joined by an actual massive influencer from the metaverse. It's Henry Stockdale.
Hello, good to be here. Thank you for having me, both of you.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's great to have you on. I feel like you're kind of the first proper journalist that we've ever had on the show. We've had devs, we've had YouTubers, we've had all sorts of people, but yeah, you're the first bona fide VR journalist. That's very exciting for us.
Oh, fantastic. Well, happy to be the first one then. No, it's brilliant to be here. So, yeah, happy to answer whatever questions you have.
Yeah, well, I suppose we know you and we love you from many of your work on Upload VR. It'd be great if for anyone that still doesn't know this website, hasn't found it yet, maybe you could introduce yourself and who you are and where you write for.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm Henry Stockdale. I'm the reviews editor for Upload VR. After some of my background, I actually started gaming journalism back in 2010. I was 17, working for Nintendo Life briefly. Was very inexperienced at the time. Eventually got let go, but no hard feelings. Came back in 2019, gradually been going from site to site. And then, well, I just sort of, ended up in VR. How do I put this? Sorry, it's always weird talking about myself. It's an odd feeling.
It's just fine.
Yeah, but basically, I started doing some freelance for Upload back in, I believe it was 2020. And then a couple of years later, I became a full-time staff member.
Nice. And so it's obviously part of that. You review games across all the platforms?
Yes, that's right. So I still do some freelance from time to time, most recently with Eurogamer and IGN, but obviously as a full-time thing, VR is my primary focus these days. And I usually cover quite a few different genres. Give me a good action game, give me a good adventure, a nice racing game, things like that, and I'll be all over it.
Do you have a favourite genre, or is it just anything? Because I feel with VR, it's just anything, whereas like outside of VR, I have set genres.
I feel the same, to be honest. Outside of VR, I would have to say RPGs, big on things like Persona, Final Fantasy. But with VR, it feels weird to say VR as a genre in itself, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you mean. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's so many games I look at VR and I go, that looks awesome. And then it was like, if that wasn't in VR, I'd be like, oh, that's not for me. Definitely not. I don't want to spend time on that.
The genre is being in the fucking game.
Yes, basically.
Being wowed by it. That's the genre.
That's going to be on the meta description one day. It's just going to say, you're in the fucking game. And you're like, oh, wow, they're really going out there.
Yeah. It's like Total Recall.
Bold new strategy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I get that. So what was your journey into, did you just start writing for it and start playing it? Or did you start finding VR and be like, right, I want to start writing about this. This is the direction I want to go in.
So I actually played it before any sort of real consumer VR headsets came out back in, I think it was 2014. Mm-hmm. A friend of mine was doing game design and he managed to get hold of a Rift headset.
Wow.
So I got to try it then. He put me through, of all things, you never put someone on the roller coaster as your first one, but he did that, swiveled my chair, all of that.
Yeah.
Then it always stuck to mind because I was like, wow, that was really cool. Come about 2019, I bought myself a Rift S when I finally had the funds to do so. I bought myself a gaming PC, loved it. I was playing, I think, things like Beat Saber, Boneworks and that, and then I got myself a PSVR headset. I just kept going, and as I got more invested, I started writing more and more about it. It basically became my niche as such, and that's what led me to Upload.
Yeah. Go on.
Go on, Rich. No, you go.
I was going to say, I definitely feel like a lot of people that play VR have that. It just hits them so much that they want to speak about it, and that's one thing I love about VR. Is whoever you give it to, they just want to kind of rave about it. So even my partner, when she plays VR, she has to kind of talk about it. She'll be talking about it to her mates on the headset on other games. So, I was just playing this VR game the other day. It's like, I love that infectious nature of VR as opposed to, I'm just sitting there playing Spider-Man on PlayStation. I'm like, I played Spider-Man. That's it.
Yeah.
It's that infectious nature of VR that I really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know what you're talking about there, Rita. I've guested on a few other pods in the last few weeks, and I just feel like I'm this sort of evangelist. It's just like, I don't work for VR or anything. I don't work for big VR. I just really think it's amazing. Everyone should try it out. And like when someone comes around your house, I don't normally go, oh, you've got to play a bit of PS5, play some Horizon Forbidden West, it's amazing. Because I'm like, no, it'd be too much faff, and they won't be able to play it.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to give someone a normal controller if they don't play games, it's impossible. But
yeah,
I suppose it's a bit like with the Wii back in the day. It's like you've got to just put this headset on and just sit there and just do this experience. Or, it's much more intuitive for someone to just start playing. So it's really easy to encourage people to just give it a go.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's something that you can't really convey for a trailer. You need to be in the headset. You need to see it directly for yourself. Like, I showed some friends some mixed reality stuff recently, and that, like, I got access to a demo of Laser Dance back in March, and to see, like, the living room suddenly filled with lasers as they tried to dodge it. That's the sort of thing you can't do that off a monitor, off a TV.
No, I just won't portray it as well.
No.
Yeah, no, I've always found that the same. Like trying to show someone a VR, trying to go, this game's awesome. They look at it and they go, it doesn't look it. It looks very janky the way you're grabbing stuff. It doesn't look like it's like, yeah, ignore that. When you're actually playing it, you feel like you're there. Like I feel like I'm picking that stuff up. I can't feel the weight of it.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely understand that.
Yeah, the thing with the trailers, that's often a thing when we interview developers. They say it's one of the hardest things is showing people the game, because whenever you do a trailer, whenever Sony put them in the state of play and everyone's like, oh, man, this game looks rough. And it's like, as a VR fan and player, that this would be a lot better in the headset. But when you see it on a 2D presentation, it's just like, oh, man, this does look... There's definitely an art to capturing the footage from it and making it show well in a trailer.
100%, yeah.
I definitely think that's what held me off of VR when I first looked into VR. I was looking at trailers of games. I was like, nah, I'll just carry on playing God of War. Like it didn't really hit me. And then it was when the PSVR 1 came around, and I was like, I want to play Resident Evil 7, but I see that it's in VR, and that just sounds more scarier. So that's why I'm going to wait. And then I took the dip, and haven't went back. I can't play Resident Evil 7 outside of VR now. It just doesn't feel right.
You could not pay me enough to jump into Resident Evil 7 VR.
That was my first VR game, and I tell you what an awful one to go into. I literally spent an hour hiding behind the sofa when you've got the Baker families looking for you, and I was like, just poking my head up the whole time. And every time I look back in, I say it to people, they're like, "Why did you go for that first game?" I was like, "Because that's the one I really wanted to play. I just didn't want to hold off." And then I did, I think it was VR Worlds, and I knocked a glass of water off because obviously I looked through like posts. It told you what things to do. Make sure you're hydrated. So I was like, I had got a glass of water next to me. And even though you didn't have your hands to move forward or anything, you used the DualShock at the time. I moved the DualShock forward like an idiot and hit the glass. I heard it hit on the floor. I was like it was the first experience went swimmingly. It was brilliant.
Oh no.
Yeah. So Henry, have you ever had any mishaps there where you've just smashed a light fitting or put a hole through the wall?
Nothing to that extent. I do remember playing, it was a Steam game called Vero Move. It was like a fitness game. I was doing a review for it, and I punched my desk.
Window frame was the worst one I've hit, I think. That one cut my knuckle open, and that really hurt.
For me, it's not so much the pain to yourself. It's just more you feel like you've broken the controller when you hit it against something, because now the PSVR 2 kind of encases your hand. You can't really hurt your hand. You just smash the controller first. So it's always quite a lot.
And then panic sets in, doesn't it? Because you're like, oh, this can't be broken because I can't buy another set. And then you instantly panic so much every single time you hit them controllers. You're like, I think it was the other day I was playing. It was a couple of weeks back. I was playing ping pong with Alex, and I hit the controller. It was either on ping pong or Ragnarok. And the casing all popped off, and I went to clip it back in, and the little clip bent out that way, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I couldn't get it to clip back in, and I had to like use a screwdriver, edge it in, and then mate, it was just the most uncomfortable experience ever with this controller that I never want to have to experience again. And I have a spare set of controllers; I just don't want to use them yet.
Yeah, fair.
So Henry, listening to your journey to VR, that just makes you realise, just really emphasises just how new all of this is still. You know, you're saying you were just on that trying out VR for the first time, 10 years ago, and then it's 5 years ago you bought your first one. So from people like you were only picking up the headsets 5 years ago, and now like it feels like we're getting some amazing things in VR, but really it's still in the foothills of what's going to be where it's going. It's crazy to think that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And one thing I will often say to people is that it's still very much an experimental space. We're only just starting to see like more common sort of like game design elements, more what's the word, standardized design practices. Like the controllers are becoming more unified now, so that will go a long way in helping there. But that's one of the things I love though about it. It's because of that experimental nature. People are doing stuff that we have never seen before, and that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Definitely.
When I read on Upload the preview for Arizona Sunshine remake, and said it's amazing that this is quite a recent game, but it's being remade. But it just shows you how quickly things have moved on in the few years since Arizona Sunshine came out originally. Now it's been remade so it plays and feels the same as the more modern, more up-to-date Arizona Sunshine 2. And unless you're Sony, that you seem to be able to get away with remaking your games every few years, it seems silly to remake such a new game. But we're already seeing it with The Wanderer as well. I can't wait for that. But it's great that because things are moving so quickly, developers are like, actually, we need to go back and redo this again just to bring it back so that people play it. And just the speed at which it's all happening, it's crazy. And before we know it, we'll be on the Quest 4 soon, and it's just like, wow.
It's going to come around before we realise.
I hope not.
Yes.
Yeah, whether PSVR 3 comes around soon, who knows?
Let's not ask that one yet. Let's just kind of forget that thing.
But I mean, as Miles said when we had him on, like the headset is already quite future-proof because you can have a PS6 and that will turbocharge the VR that you can see through PSVR 2. So that headset is a bit more future-proofed based on the fact that it's not doing the processing in the same way that Quest does.
Yeah. Which I'd agree with that, especially with like if you look at the PS4 and they use the PSVR 1 and how outdated that was from the get-go. For them to make the PSVR 2 for it to be, like you said, pretty much future-proof for the next, I'd say, 5 years. Until somebody makes a better PC VR headset, but then obviously won't work on the PlayStation and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I also find it quite cool how you started on PC VR and then kind of worked your way to the console and the Quest and things like that.
Honestly, it was for me with going to PSVR. A lot of it was the exclusives.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I try and remember what was out at that time. I don't think we had Blood and Truth just yet, but
what an amazing game that was!
Such a great game. Honestly.
Still to this day, I've not played something that's made me feel like I'm in an action movie, like I am playing a character, I'm acting out the role. That is the one game that the whole way through, it just there was something special about that. So
absolutely, yeah.
And now I'm sad we'll never get a sequel.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because it was
really
such a great time.
Yeah, it really was.
So what has been your favourite VR game to date then? Was it a PSVR 1 experience? Is it something on PSVR 2 or something on Quest? PC VR?
It's a tough one because there's plenty of games I love for different reasons. If I had to choose my current all-time favourite, I would have to say probably Dungeons of Eternity, in all honesty. Really enjoyed that. Like the action just feels fantastic. There's so many little design decisions which it just complements it so well for VR. But then if you look back, like Blood and Truth, that's definitely up there for me for very different reasons. Like you said, you feel like you're in an action movie.
Yeah, it really did feel that way.
Yeah, I mean. Beat Saber, Alex, those are all favourites. Synapse, absolutely love that.
Yeah,
it's so hard to choose one.
Yeah, there is a lot. I mean, you mentioned Half-Life Alex, and I only got to experience that this year for the first time.
Yeah.
And once you've played the game, then you start looking at all the mods that people have made for this game. I think my Half-Life Alex game now on Steam is over 100 gigabytes because of the amount of mods I've added to it. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it's crazy.
You tried, like the Bioshock one.
Yep. Yeah, because it's made by the people that are making Memoriam, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I tried the first part, and I need to jump into the second chapters that they did, where it's a bit more in depth. So I know there's 2 lots. So I tried the earlier ones, but I'm going to go for the later ones. I heard they're better.
Sure.
Gunman Contracts as well. That that is the most realistic sounding guns I think I've heard in a VR game.
I can't
is
wait for the
insane.
standalone version.
Exactly. Cannot
Yeah.
wait.
So you guys are making me jealous now because I've just got PSVR 2. I've never played PSVR 1 games, all these games, PC, Quest. Yeah.
You have so much out there to catch up on. So
I
many
know,
great titles.
Well, there's just
Laurie
too
will get
much.
around to it eventually.
One day, yeah, too much for PSVR 2's coming out, especially the next few months.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah, can you pinpoint the particular wow moment? So not a whole game, just like the telekinesis in Synapse or whatever you want to.
I think for me, yeah, that was definitely a wow moment because I've never seen a better use of like Jedi style force powers in a game, never mind a VR game. But it felt so satisfying. Like just throw like the barrel over towards the enemies and explode it, things like that. So that was definitely a wow moment once I started unlocking those abilities. I think as well, seeing City 17 for the first time in Half-Life Alyx. Another one for me, a bit different. Kayak VR.
Yeah.
Just those environments are stunning, yeah. And being able to just like, casually go through those at my own pace. Like the water physics are beautiful.
Yeah. No, I've long people mock me for my love of that game, but I just think, well, it's less of a game, that just the experience, that simulator, I suppose. But the Slovenia DLC they did was absolutely
it's amazing.
So nice because you can whitewater rafting, the music's so calm. It is like meditation playing that game. It's like it's like great for your mental health, I swear.
Completely.
It's a fantastic place.
Honestly, if you had a long day and you just want to immerse yourself in that environment, those guided guided tour, that option, you just sit back, relax. It's so good for you.
And the wow moment comes when you come round a bend and you have this amazing view, or you see some baby turtles, or just the nature, the connection. It's just it's a very, very special game.
I clearly need to play more of it.
You do, absolutely. Yeah. For me,
I did the
tutorial.
Tutorial, it's just indoors on a little.
Well, bear in mind, so me and my partner got our PSVR2s on the same day, and I bought Pavlov and like 6 other games, and she was like, "There's only one game I really want to grab," and she bought Kayak, and she was playing that, and she was loving it, and I'm over there just shooting people on Pavlov. So clearly, you could tell the difference. She doesn't mind a shooting game, but that was the first one she jumped into. So I only eventually tried out the tutorial, and I was like, "Yeah, this looks really good." And then instantly went off to play something else and just haven't went back to it. But I am going to play more of it with the multiplayer mode because I just think that's going to be an absolute laugh, just splashing each other, just annoying each other in some way or another.
Yeah, so we might as well mention that now because that was a bit of the news that was going to come up later.
No, apologies.
The news. No, it's good. We'll talk about it now because they just obviously added the multiplayer mode now added to it. So that's very. I said from the start, it'd be great to play it in multiplayer with someone. It's just you have that presence with someone. You can just kayak around and chat to a friend whilst kayaking around this beautiful scenery. Like, what a great way to have a catch up with someone that you don't see very often.
Fully agree. Yeah, I've not yet jumped into it, but I really want to as soon as I can. Yeah, like that's VR could really bring people together like that, and honestly, something like that sounds perfect. Just a quick catch up.
I mean, Walkabout mini golf. I've never liked multiplayer games, but Walkabout, just there's something about it, just where it's just fun to hang out with your mates in that place. I mean, I say mates, I mean Reece and Alex, but
we usually drag a few others in there as well, don't we?
Yeah, no, it's just great to hang out with people in there. It's so much more fun than just a normal flat multiplayer game where you can talk to someone on a headset, but it's just so disconnected. Whereas when you're in these VR spaces, you're with someone. So I'd love to go kayaking with someone. That would be good fun. So come on then, Henry. Give us your sense then of the current state of the PSVR 2. We'll talk about Quest as well, but sure. We're PSVR 2 first and foremost around these parts. So how do you think it's going as a platform? It's been, well, not 2 years, but 1.5 years, let's say, on the market. How do you think it's doing, and what do you think it's got ahead of it in the next 18 months?
So I'm someone who is like, I want to be more optimistic about PlayStation VR 2 as a whole than I actually am. I am pleased that we're still getting like big third-party publishers like nDreams and Skydance supporting it. Very much looking forward to things like Behemoth, Frenzies, and that. And I've always seen like PlayStation VR 1 and 2, I suppose, at least at the time for 1, as like a nice middle ground for those who want like the high-end VR gaming, but don't necessarily want to spend that high level investment on a gaming PC.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
No, they're not. But
no, what are you talking about? People keep telling me I can make one as good as a PS Pro for $700.
I mean, you probably could in some sense, but I don't think it'll be on the same level. But that's a whole nother discussion, isn't it?
Anyway.
Really, let's be honest.
Sorry, go on, Henry. Go on, let's not go down that one.
No, we'll leave that one. There's some things like that which I'm very happy to see with the platform, but I'm not alone when I say I'm disappointed by the lack of first-party output we've seen since the launch. I really liked Horizon Call the Mountain. Gran Turismo 7 is easily my favorite VR racing game currently. It just feels fantastic. But I mean, what
else has there been?
Yeah. What else is there currently that they're planning? We just don't know.
See, I lost a lot of optimism, but then every time I'm on here, Laurie goes, "Yeah, but PlayStation haven't announced anything else they're doing." I'm like, "Do you know what? Maybe, just maybe he's right." And I keep just kind of like going back over that side, but yeah.
Yeah, this is the point. Yeah, we don't know what this PS5 is coming out, and it's getting a bit silly at this point because everyone's like, "You're just doing a Pro model now, but what are we going to be playing on it? Why are you being so secretive?" So we don't know any VR stuff. The only non-VR thing we know is Wolverine. So at some point they're going to have to show the hand, and it would be absolutely. You have to kind of hold out hope that there's at least a couple or one even VR game, but maybe there are none, and we have reason to be disappointed. The reason the reason you choose VR2 over Quest is for those first-party exclusives, right? And where are they?
Absolutely. I've also heard, I know there's a report that came out a while ago saying that there are 2 first-party games in development. I've heard similar things, admittedly, but I've not been able to properly independently verify that. So that's why we didn't cover that when that came out. What's that story? Yeah. But there are moments where I'm looking at the lineup and I'm like, I've been playing the new Astrobot, and there are some moments which clearly feel like they were designed for VR. Without being too spoilery for those who are currently playing it, it's once you find key components for your ship, there's this sort of interactivity which it really feels like it was designed for motion controls initially. And it's disappointing to not see that fully realised inside the headsets.
Do you think at the very least now we'll get a port of Rescue Mission? Now there's this huge love and enthusiasm for Astrobot. It feels like the easiest way in the world for Sony to make money and probably sell some headsets as well if they do a bundle next year with a souped up version of Rescue Mission. Just port it. I mean, they can keep using the dual sense because that was a dual sense. Didn't use the Move controllers, did it?
No, the Astrobot used the dual shock.
So
it's been a while.
They don't even need to remap the controllers. They could just do it like GT7 and just keep using the DualSense. To support that, it's just, why would they not do that? I just don't understand. It's infuriating if they don't do it, if they can't even be able to put those resources at it. Especially because Asobi now, they've got the game out. I can't imagine there's going to be too much work on the patches and DLCs and keep working on that game. It's a perfect game as it is. Set the team to work on just porting Rescue Mission over and just keep that Astrobot franchise ticking along till Astro 2.
I really hope they do that. And I always really wished that Sony would take the Nintendo approach, like when they ported all their Wii U stuff onto Switch. I would love to see that for the old PSVR backlog.
I mean,
give me Wipeout again, basically. That's what I really want.
They've done that yet. There's just too many games on there that they've not done. Obviously, we've already mentioned Blood and Truth. I want Farpoint to come back. I really want to play Farpoint again. I mean, I would have said Firewall, but never mind. So, there's still a lot of games on there. You got Rush of Blood. I mean, that was great. And I remember when I played that on the PS5 and used the PSVR 1 adapter and all that stuff, because you had to use the little adapter. It did used to say some PS4 PSVR games won't work well on the PS5. Rush of Blood was one of the ones I always had an issue with, so I used to have to go back and play it on the PS4. It used to concat sometimes. And I just want that to be upgraded as well, because I preferred that more than Switchback.
Yeah, sure.
Not necessarily because, it was more of just how it was, the level designs, the fear factor. I found it more scary. Plus, there was that level with spiders where they would drop in your face, and I'm pretty sure that's what sparked the fear of VR spiders for me. So,
understandable though.
Yeah, that big spider at the end, yeah, that was a bit much.
Yeah. I will say, on a more positive note, we still got a lot of great games coming out just this year alone. Still, like I said, I've already said Behemoth. We've already touched upon Arizona Sunshine. We still got Wanderer. We've got Metro. We've got Metal Hellsinger. I think Phasmophobia got reconfirmed for Halloween time.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's still
Yeah.
some great things coming. So I'm keeping optimistic for now.
Yeah, this year's been fairly quiet up to now, but yeah, the end of the year, second half, the final quarter of the year is very stacked with releases October onwards. Yeah, it's a busy old time for the headset for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Who knows? Maybe they've got maybe they have got these 2 games developing, and then somewhere else is another 2 games developing. We're just going to get a whole load of them in 1 year. I'll just keep telling myself that.
Yeah, I don't really care too much. Well, it's obviously great to see the first party stuff like Horizon, but it's that stuff like Metro Awakening where you're just making the use of the power of the
exactly.
PS5. If you think, if I'm going to play this tethered to a PS5 with this cable, I want to be drawing some of that power from the PS5. I don't want to. If it's just going to be playing Quest ports, I may as well just play a Quest.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, I know you get the extra boost, and when it's a good port and all that kind of stuff, you do get the extra boost. I think the only reason I want a first party game it's just because of Last of Us. If they did Last of Us VR, I would never ask them for another first party game. I wouldn't. If they just did that, that's all they need to do for me. One, I think it'd sell a load of headsets, and 2, it'll just make me happy, and I want to be happy. Not that I've not been happy with my purchase of the PSVR 2. I've loved it, but yeah, it is ever since going down the on Half-Life Alyx, you've got the moment where you kind of go down like this fungus area, and I was like, mate, this literally just strip this. This is The Last of Us. That's what this is. And ever since then, I've wanted The Last of Us VR even more. And even if it was just a 2-hour experience, something completely separate from the main game, I'd be happy with it, just so I can be in that world. But yeah, so please, Sony, I beg of thee.
One day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Henry, do you think by the end of the PSVR 2 generation, it's going to be seen as, well, it's generally already seen as a complete flop by by many people? But do you think there's going to be time will be kinder on it, or is it going to be seen as just an expensive mistake by Sony?
I think time will be kinder on it. I mean, a lot of people who are writing off already would write off VR as a whole, in my opinion. Every time we see a VR is dead sort of article, we're like, oh, here we go again. Slack.
I was going to ask you that. Like, why if you go to, say, like IGM and Eurogamer covers it a little bit, they've got the correspondent there that's the VR guy, is it Ian?
Ian.
But generally, Push Square will just never really mentions it beyond. No one else reviews games apart from you guys out there. So why aren't the mainstream outlets just covering it? Is it just there's no clicks in it? Is it just too much of a niche for them? It just seems like such an exciting, vibrant stuff that's being bubbling away over there.
I think it's partly due to the wider sort of media landscape currently, because it's not been good. So there has been a lot of outlets that face layoffs, with Google's regular changes to their search engine criteria. It's a lot of sites have been impacted, and right now I think a lot of sites who might have been more willing to cover the more experimental stuff and the indie stuff are now hedging their bets more on the bigger names. And I'd say that not because they necessarily don't want to cover those games, but because it's becoming a matter of survival for some of them. It's like, we only have these many people, this much money, resources, all of that. So where are we going to invest it? So, and unfortunately, unless it's a big name like Arkham Shadow or something like that, they're just not. It's just not going to happen. As a freelancer, before I joined Upload, I managed to get some VR coverage. Like, I got published at places like Tech Radar, PC Gamer, IGN. I had a few reviews on there, but it's a different landscape to what it was. It's a really tough one right now out there. So I think that's part of it, and the other part of it is, how do I put this? I think there's a problem with preconceived notions with VR. I think a lot of people try those earlier headsets, even if it's something like Google Cardboard or something like that, and they just haven't moved past it. So,
Yeah, I played Labo once, and that's it for me.
yeah, never again.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, let's not talk about all that kind of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like at this point, like even like some people that may try like the PSVR 1 now, like, again, like I said, that felt dated out of the box in a sense.
Yeah.
I know Alex said that he tried it at an event. I don't know if you did you as well, Laurie? You tried it at an event, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you both went back and cancelled your pre-orders. So
I
like,
kept it. I received the PSVR, played it for a weekend, and then I traded it straight in and got back what I paid for it because it was like, this is not good enough. It's just, this wasn't enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard you both say it, and I was like, and that just proves the point of how dated the PSVR 1 was out of the box. Them motion controls were torture to use sometimes, except from like Beat Saber, they were great on that.
Yeah,
I had tracking issues with the Move controllers repeatedly. Iron Man VR, that was a struggle. Yeah, Beat Saber
There
had
is
time for
too
that
many
too.
games. If it didn't use the aim controller, I used to be really disappointed. Like any shooter game that you had to use the motion controls and use like holding these two glowy balls in front of each other, I was like, this just doesn't work. Like it doesn't. It was very poorly made.
I spent a lot of time in it that first weekend of it, and just constantly not being able to track properly the controllers, breaking the immersion. It felt really hot and uncomfortable to where it was. The loading times were so slow, and the viewing angle just wasn't that great. There was a lot of black around the screen. It was quite a narrow viewing. So I was like, this is I really like what they're trying to do here, but it just isn't. I want to play 2.0. I'll wait for VR 2.0 to come out, or PSVR 2.0.
Well, there's the thing. Oh, go on.
And then when it did PSVR 2, it was exactly what I wanted back then. It blew me away. That was what I was waiting for. So I'm glad I did.
I was just going to say, it felt like, because of that large gap, and let's remember as well, those Move controllers were PS3 era tech too.
Yeah.
It felt like 2 generation leaps at once.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
That came out to
it
me.
really did.
It was such a huge leap above.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, I had the PSVR 1, and I never decided to pick up a Quest or go anything further than the PSVR 1 because I was like, yeah, I love this. This is a great bit of tech. But and then when the PSVR 2 came out, I was like, oh, grabbing that straight away. And like it was a huge upgrade. But I genuinely think if I picked up like the Quest 2 or anything like that mid-cycle of like waiting for the PSVR 2, I think I would have been extremely pleased, just simply because of the inside-out tracking.
Sure.
Because let's be honest, that was the issue with the PSVR 1. It was the tracking, and I genuinely think my passion for VR would have just grew even quicker, just simply by jumping to another headset. But I'm glad I waited for the PSVR 2.
Well, that's a nice segue. So, Henry, on Quest, I presume you're a big fan of Quest as well. What's your take on that platform?
Honestly, Quest, it's the place to be. Yeah. Like we all know that. Like it's been. You can't beat the sort of convenience and the price of Quest. But then obviously you get the obvious trade-offs. We all know that. But I think, like, right now, I'm quite excited by what they're doing with mixed reality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some experiences which have been fantastic. That fantastic use of tech. Like I mentioned earlier with laser dance. There was a thing, experience called Astra that I tried where it would put a starship in your living room, and that was phenomenal. And I think for the state of Quest, if they continue building on things like that, I think that will be a nice. I don't want to say introduction because that's sort of. I don't want to diminish what they're doing, what the mixed reality developers are doing, but it feels like a nice way to bring more people into the space. And I think that's with that Quest, which we all know is happening. We all know it's going to be announced at Connect.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, I think that will only serve to bring more people in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when I picked up my Quest, I was extremely happy with the purchase. Again, like I said, I was with the PSVR 2, but I hadn't played Quest 2, so I had all that back library of Quest games to play, and I got to play ones I saw videos for, and yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I think when you got the combination of the cheaper headset coming out mixed with a huge launch with Batman, I think that's going to be massive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm here now. I'm looking at last year's Assassin's Creed, this year's Batman. I'm like, well, there's two pretty good reasons there for quite a kind of core gamer to want to jump into this
Yeah.
ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with Meta. Yeah, they are very much putting their money where the mouth is, where they're trying to create this. I'm not sure about the whole wider metaverse, but in terms of moving on the medium, they're doing good work there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest with you, I'm just not that interested in like the experiences with Horizon Worlds. It's just not for me. But to see them investing in the tech, they've got that money to burn, and the fact is,
clearly,
but at least the tech is great. It's paying off. At least to me, it's an investment. So that's surely how they must be seeing it. So,
yeah, I mean, it's not great for their shareholders, but great news for us fans of VR to move on the medium. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So where do you see the medium moving on then? What's your kind of expectations for where VR is what it's gonna look like in the next 5 to 10 years, and what do you kind of expect to happen, and what do you hope? What's your best case scenario? Do you think?
Such a difficult question to answer, just because you've seen alone how much tech has changed just in the last 5 years, never mind what might be happening in the next 5. I know that Meta is still looking at things like AR glasses. I know a lot of companies are looking at stuff like that. But I don't think... It feels weird to say the traditional headset, because it really isn't. None of this is traditional. But I don't think that's going to completely disappear. I think we're still going to see people developing all those sort of experiences. But just in what form, that's... I just couldn't tell you right now.
Fair enough.
What do you see with the Apple Vision Pro?
I see it as, well, first of all, until it gets a serious price reduction, I don't see it as being...
So do you have one? Do you have one? Do you get to use one at work?
I don't have one. I have used one. I borrowed one off my colleague for a week. But yeah, it's really interesting tech. You can see... Always said that a smart person doesn't bet against Apple. And I can see those innovations developing further over time. I can see competitors looking to what they're doing and trying to implement some of that. But pricing will always remain king. Like, even for Apple fans, £3,500 or whatever it is priced here. That's, we're in a cost of living crisis. Who could afford that?
It just makes me wince every time somebody says that price or I see that price.
I mean, it's not a mass market price. It's not a mass market proposition right now, but you think
absolutely.
That the Vision Pro is it'll be the Vision Pro 2 or 3 when it finally gets to be the commercial, or the Vision Pro S or whatever they're going to call it, that makes it more accessible. But I think you're right. The stuff that they're doing, their R&D that Apple can do is just no one else can match that sort of money. Well, apart from Meta, apparently. But between the two of them, it's good to have that competition between them and just see who can push the boundaries quickest and furthest.
I fully agree, and I think it's quite interesting to see how Meta, like by comparison's sake, how Meta are. They know gaming is important. They know it's the biggest entertainment case, and Apple don't seem to care, or at least not nearly as much. So it's very interesting to see those contrasting approaches, because they seem to be more focused on wider entertainment experiences right now. And I do think that's important. I do think if VR or XR, I suppose, as a whole is to grow, we need to look beyond that. And I think if anyone's going to do it on that front, it's going to be Apple.
Yeah, certainly.
But in what form and how things evolve, time will tell.
I mean, surprisingly, there is one thing on the Apple Vision Pro that I do want to try, and it's that Marvel What If experience.
I got to try that a couple of weeks ago, and it's a great time.
I was kind of hoping you would say to me, it's not worth it, just to kind of like ruin that whole thing. And I'd be like, don't ever need to try one. Now, thanks, Henry, you've saved the day, but now you've just made me go, maybe $3,500 isn't too bad.
See, I was gonna my thing I want to ever go on is watching Disney Plus, where Disney have designed those 3D environments that you can watch stuff on a big screen, and so it feels like you're in a Star Wars environment watching Mandalorian. Like that just looks like so
that does look cool. Yeah.
ridiculous, but cool.
It was fun. Not $3.5 grand's worth of fun. I must stress this.
Yeah, but again, that's a great idea. Why is there not a Disney app on Quest? Why don't they have that same feature?
Assuming there must be some sort of partnership deal. There must be.
Well, yeah, but the thing, like, at some point this will come everywhere, won't it?
Hopefully so. So then I won't have to spend $3.5 grand play What If. So
yeah, and if it's not Disney that do it themselves, someone else will.
Yeah, like it's a question we've asked so many times. Like, why are there not dedicated apps on Quest for all these different entertainment apps? Even Netflix no longer has a dedicated one. It's like, but surely that's the one.
Yeah, that should have one. Like, I was disappointed when I found out that doesn't actually function as intended. I was like, oh, well.
Yeah, they've sort of deprecated it now, so real shame. But there's such potential for that idea, and things like those immersive environments with Disney Plus prove that.
I mean, you've even got an IKEA app on PC VR. I mean, come on, Netflix, fix it. I can go to an IKEA showroom for my own home here. Like, if they can do it, anyone can.
Well, it's that sort of stuff that, I mean, if you're stuck with PSVR 2 like me, you get nothing like nothing there in
that's
VR.
true.
We've just got.
I mean, you have Rad TV.
Yeah, never mind. But yeah, and it always baffles me, Henry. Like I always say on the podcast, Sony own all these like movie studios and music label. They could, we could go backstage in the making of these films, or we could go on stage with these concerts. It's impossible to buy concert tickets in the UK for like any popular gig now. But like Sony could put you there in the front row or on stage. They could have a guy with a camera just getting right up and close with the band and stuff, and they just don't. They're not exploring that side of things. Yeah,
it's a real shame because you have seen how good those things can be. Like Amaze VR, they've done. I think they're on PC as well as Quest, but they've done like virtual concerts. That's like one example.
I need to try that.
Yeah, do recommend.
I've done some of the Meta Horizon concert things, which aren't the same, but it's still kind of cool being around other people that are, getting all excited for this music that's playing. Even though Meta Horizon is not the best place for anything really, sadly, it's just certainly not for me.
I'll be honest, I would just take big screen on PSVR 2 or something like that.
Yeah, they need to bring that across. Like, movie nights with your friends would be sorted.
Yeah. Be so good.
Okay, final question to end on for you, Henry, then. What IP would you most like to see turned into VR?
Child of Eden. I would absolutely love to see that. I really loved that game on PS3, and I know I think it's technically a prequel to Res, I think, if I remember right. I think something like that, those visuals on a flat screen were incredible. But if they could ever adapt that into a VR release, I'd be there day one. I'd get my tent, I'd be camping.
Yeah, that was a surprisingly sensible and realistic answer. I definitely could see that.
Usually just like Metal Gear, something like that. Something over the top, yeah.
I mean, don't see how that... Well, I mean, I'm a huge
That's right, we can dream.
fan.
It doesn't need to work, Henry. It's just we're just...
No, you're right, you're right.
Dreaming.
Imagination.
More so of that mind of like, are these worlds I actually want to visit? There's that aspect
that's
as
also
well.
that true.
Yeah, well, that's like The Last of Us. It's like, oh god, that's going to be a fun couple of hours. Reece has got in store for us there.
Oh god, yeah.
Instead of bleak enough playing it in non-VR.
No, mate. Yeah, no. That would be my IP, obviously.
I think that's what's put me off the Walking Dead Sinners and Saints games, because like the Walking Dead TV show just left me feeling so miserable by the end of it. I had to start watching it because I was like, this is so relentlessly bleak and depressing to watch this program. I can't imagine spending all night.
Saints and Sinners is a bit bleak, but also makes you feel like an ultimate badass and unstoppable walker killing machines.
It's a different sort of game. But
that feeling,
games. Yeah. There's Telltale games as well. It's just like, my God, no one catch a break in this world.
That first season, I still remember that. Remember that. That scarred me.
Yeah.
That last choice.
Oh. Let's not go there. Next.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Henry, we could just chat to you about the state of VR all night long, but we better try and wrap things up at some point this evening. But there is a little bit of news. We're recording earlier this week, so we don't have too much news to go through. We've actually covered a lots of it already, talking about things. I did want to mention, just for people that hadn't seen it, the date and time's now confirmed for the VR Games Showcase. It's going to be on the 25th of September at 4 p.m. in the UK. And they've announced this is the Indies and Friends follow-up showcase to their main one they did the other week, with 15 titles they're showing, and they confirmed today we're going to see One True Path there, which is the follow-up to Fisherman's Tale devs, their next project, and then Dig VR, then a special section on mixed reality games as well. So looking forward to that one, and that's just before the Meta Connect show starts. So yeah, it's going to be a busy week, Henry, for you next week covering all this lot.
I am. I've taken the week off, so I've got so much to catch up on even before that starts airing. I did see Jamie mention there's going to be a few PSVR 2 reveals in there as well. So that'd be quite nice.
He responded to someone asking, didn't he? There was digging. There was like, is it going to be PSVR 2? He's like, there'll be a few. Maybe not as many as the other showcase, but
excuse fine. We'll take what we can get.
I'm looking forward to it regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they have. It's not. We was going to talk about the news, but there's strong rumours there's also going to be a state of play next week, and Sony are pretty good on the state of play, so dropping in 1 or 2 VR things, and I suspect we could see Metro Awakening release date for that. I feel like they've shown enough of Behemoth, but I think Metro Awakening maybe a bit more of a story trailer or something, just a release date trailer, because that is supposed to be coming out very soon now. So I feel like we're due a release date for that.
Hope so.
Not sure we'll get more than that, because Sony seem to be like, well, here's that's your big game you're getting. Once that's out, we'll tell you what's coming next. But we're still in the hype. They're still going to keep milking that one. So, but yeah, hopefully next week we'll get some nice showcases and things to watch, and there'll be some good news at exciting reveals at Meta Connect as well. A new headset as well, most probably as well. So yeah, big week next week in the world of VR for people to keep an eye on.
Certainly.
Less cheerful news. We saw the news this week for nDreams, layoffs impacting 17.5% of their workforce potentially, which is never good to see, especially with a studio like nDreams, which is doing so much good stuff recently. And obviously they were acquired by another publisher. Was it last year or this year? Yeah,
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah. And so I guess I hope this is. Well, I hope it's not the devs. I hope it's not any of them, but if the developers that are working hard the games, it feels like if it's following these acquisitions, is it more a case of just the HR functions getting combined and the legal teams getting combined and whatever? But it's never good news to see.
No, certainly.
No, definitely not.
Wish them all the best.
Yeah, likewise. They're a great team. I've visited them a couple of times, and I wish all those developers, I hope they land on their feet. Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah, and obviously they've got Vendetta Forever coming out in a couple of weeks, so hopefully that lands and they can get back to get some good news for that studio and get some wins.
That is true.
That certainly looks a very promising title.
Yeah, I went hands on with the demo. It was really, really good fun. I think the low kill motion, I think they call it.
Yeah, low kill motion, something like that. Yeah, cool name that they gave it. It takes a while to get used to, doesn't it? Like the first time I played it, I was like, okay, I'm going very slow, and I don't think I'm doing this as fast as everyone else. But no, it's very unique.
Built for replayability.
100%.
He loves those leaderboards.
Yeah.
Well, Reece does. Reece and Alex do.
Alex more so me, but.
Final thing we spotted this week is EXOCars. It's been announced it's coming to PSVR 2. So don't have a date on that one yet, unless Henry, you can tell me otherwise.
No, it's October. That's all we know so far.
Yeah, they've only said October. There was a date, but they seem to have suddenly. I think it was originally said to be the 17th, but they removed it, so we don't know yet.
And this still hasn't come out on Quest yet.
No, it's coming to every platform at the same time, I believe.
So we already obviously knew about it before for everywhere else, but now it's been confirmed it's coming to PSVR 2 at launch as well, which is great news.
Yeah. I think it was originally going to be Steam Early Access and then everything else, but they seem to have done a unified approach, which is probably for the best, admittedly. Yeah,
especially with something online. I think they're doing crossplay, aren't they, as well on it? I hope so, anyway. But yeah,
I believe so.
Anything with multiplayer on VR, you need to do crossplay. If you don't, it's silly. But yeah, I do think games need to kind of release at the same time, especially with their multiplayer. But no, I'm looking forward to jumping into that one, seeing as I haven't played many racing games in VR. So
it looks really good. It looks, from the trailer, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, the fact that it's a different kind of racer as well, not just another circuit racer, I think people will be interested.
yeah, and seeing where it's off track as well, I won't feel as bad for keep crashing. Like I feel like that's meant to happen because it's off road, so I'll feel good about that.
You're already off the road, it's fine.
Exactly.
It's just good to see something that's a bit more arcadey as well, the GT7, which is very, very serious.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that wrapped up the news. We'll just finish off with what we've been playing. But before we do, just remind everyone, if they want to support us, they can give the podcast a sub on whatever service they're using. And if on YouTube, do the like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff through too. And give us a comment whilst you're there, please. That's always nice. Follow us on Twitter at CrossButtonVR as well. On the what we've been playing, I haven't been playing anything since the last time we spoke because I just got a new puppy and I have to spend every evening playing with him and taking him out in the garden to make sure he doesn't do an accident in the house.
Unacceptable.
So, yeah, it's not very conducive to putting a headset on when you've got a small puppy around your feet. He's very excited. I don't think he'd probably try and chew the cable and stuff. So, my VR time is on hiatus the last few days. But I'm looking forward to jumping into some of the games we've got codes for recently. So I shall be getting back on it in the next few days. So, Reece, what about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm playing, obviously, is Into the Radius still, which we recorded a snap for, which you can all go over and watch. Yeah. Gave our first impressions of it. I mean, like I said there, and like I've said here so many times, I love this game. I've played it so many times, played it on PC, played it on Quest, and PSVR 2, and I can't stop playing it. It's a great game. It's everything I wanted and more for the PSVR 2 port, and just really happy with it. It's going really well, and just keep sinking time into it.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. Yeah, if people want to see your full thoughts on the game, there's about 10-minute snap episode that we've got
7 to 10 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely worth watching, especially if you've got any interest in the game, because it kind of covers up quite a few stuff on there. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff Into the Radius to go over. I mean, I'm sure you've played it. It's a very big game. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. It's not my sort of game personally, but I can.
Yeah, it wasn't Alex's either. Alex just sat there. He's like, "Yeah, I like the look of it. It's not my, he's not big on shooters, but he appreciated everything they've went to do on it. But yeah, it's a great game. If people haven't played it, take a look at it. I still put it as a staple point for VR immersion. To me, it's just one of the things that kind of lets you do a lot of stuff in VR. So yeah, really happy with that.
So Henry, do you want to let us know what you've been playing?
I would love to, but some of the things I can't currently admit.
Oh, go on.
No, if I could, I would. But
what can you tell us?
I have been playing Fracked. I finally, now that it's come out on Quest, I've decided it's finally time to jump in properly. I always had it on Steam, but it ended up in like the forever backlog pile, admittedly. Yeah. So I've not gotten too far, like I said, because I've been juggling all this other stuff, but I've been having a good time so far.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's quite a short game as well, so you can kind of breeze through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ski through it. Yeah, this is another one I'm very jealous I can't play on PSVR 2. Alex has said that it's just got that same feel as Sinners, but without the roguelike element to it. So I was like, oh man, that's the only thing I didn't like about Sinners. So
yeah.
The story isn't too bad either. Like I feel like for a game like this, it's a good length for people just to play something over the course of a weekend, and it's just nice.
Yeah.
You feel satisfied with it, and you can go back and do the S ranks and stuff like that if you want to. So, is there any sense or whispers of it coming to PSVR 2? Do you think, Henry?
I've not heard anything, admittedly. After the news like this week, I'm not counting on it right now, at least. But I would love to see it make the jump.
I definitely think it's worth it. Yeah. Okay. Well, as I said earlier, I think, Henry, we could spend all night just chatting to you about your thoughts on VR. It's been great having you on the show. Thank you for taking the time out to join us. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Well, again, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. And if anyone hasn't discovered Upload VR yet, then you really should add it to your favourites. It is the place to go to find all the news and what's going on around all of VR. So it's invaluable. Doing great work over there, and the reviews of games are very, very well written. Henry.
Thank
I'm
you.
not just saying that because you're right there.
No, that is a very well done site.
I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you both.
And it does seem like whenever we send each other new stuff in the WhatsApp group, it always ends up being an Upload VR link majority of the time.
I genuinely think this show wouldn't exist without Upload VR, just because we wouldn't know what was going on. It's we'd have to start reading press releases.
A little powered by Upload in the corner or something.
Yeah, very glad to be doing this job. Honestly, I feel privileged to be in this job. So I'm really glad
as you should.
I bet. Well, if I can find you at EGX in a few weeks' time, I shall come up and shake your hand and buy you a drink for all of the news you've helped share with the rest of us. So,
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, on that note, everyone, thanks again for listening. If you've enjoyed the episode, we'd love it if you could please tell your family and friends all about us. And if you're getting more involved, please don't hesitate to jump into our Discord and say hello. I've been your host, Laurie, been joined by Reece, and we have been thrilled to be joined by Henry. And Reece and I will see you again next time. Until then, it's goodbye.